Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington. No, maybe not so bad. 80 Drew, no, I can't say that either. But we do have the one and only Charles Bishop. He's always on hand. And guess what? Who's back? Wilton Jackson II. Jackson State finest. That being said, we also have A&T's finest, I guess you would say, David L. Rhodes. Welcome to episode 692 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. Quite simply, we call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Charles Bishop, David L. Rhodes, Wilton Jackson II. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live. KSWA's 12:30 a.m. studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. You know, you always give some love to Texas Southern University, boy. They have you, boy, you know, living life right now. So make sure they get a lot of respect. They getting good. Texas Southern. I'm just saying. And I know I said Jack State finest, Charles Bishop, you know, you get to have love of two institutions and multiple more when you talk to your wife. So I don't want to get ruffle no feather, you know. He got the little Jackson in his name, so I thought I'd pep him up a little. NABJ flying around. I see all these pictures and he big timing us, and all of a sudden the week before things start, he's like, man, I'm ready.
he gave you the arm back. He gave you the arm back and just showed up.
Oh, people been big timing me all month, man. First it was Charles, then it was Mike. He Drew even big time. He like, man, I got some other stuff I got to work on this week. You know, the game coming up. I was like, okay. They roll you next.
No, well, I mean, I'm competing again, so I won a tournament last night, so it might be. You're gonna see.
All right. Oh well, it sounds like everybody doing well. Charles, how you doing?
Doing well, Doc. Doing well. We are right here. We got some football this upcoming weekend, so you and I will be making a trek over to Atlanta for the MEAC Swag Challenge. Looking forward to it.
Famous words. Wait.
Yes, indeed.
How's your classes going so far?
So far, so good. Got a good class with my Tuesday and Thursday class. We had a very good class this morning, so enjoyed that. And then sat in on my other class that I'll be sitting in on quite a bit with Dr. Dixon. So that is my other class.
Sports education model, boy.
Yes, sports
it's
education
hell when you're working on your dissertation.
Yes, indeed.
Class there must be getting serious. You must be getting close.
It's getting serious. It is. It's here. It's on me. I told Dr. Dixon that today. I said, "Woo, it's on me now."
Wilton Jackson II, how are you, sir?
I am doing good, Dr. Cavil. I'm glad to be back on the show. And kind of what Charles said, like, I mean, football season is here. We got a game Saturday. I'll be in Atlanta as well for MEAC Swag. I'm just excited to see two teams that's not facing each other in practice going against each other on the field. It's just, I mean, everybody loves football season, and it's finally back.
I agree with you in terms of facing each other, and we know it's a legit game if Wilton is going to be in the house. So we can officially say we can talk about this now. David, how are you?
Pretty good. Unfortunately, I won't make it to Atlanta this weekend. I gotta go move my daughter into college, so we doing that final scramble right now to head up to Long Island, New York this weekend. So,
well, congratulations on that. That is a significant accomplishment. Congratulations to you, and certainly to her, and wish her well in her endeavors. With that being said, it's central. Would you come down there anyway? I know y'all use other terms, but I'm the host. So I'm gonna say North Carolina Central. Would you still go if your availability was there, or is that too much?
I would have went. I would have to root for Southern off the principle, but
So that's what I'm saying. Would you be doing like Jackson State over Southern, where you going down there to the game just to ride those folks? Charles, yeah. What's the term you like to call?
Go over there to troll.
Yeah.
Hey, you in that
blue and gold all over the place, across the board. I was sitting in that section just to have fun with them at that point.
Oh, boy, Troll City. I think even Grant like that a little bit. He might come up with something called Troll City. We'll see. With that being said, Charles, what's on your mind in terms of HBCU news of the day? Yes, today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational, consulting, and data analytics. With that being said, what else is on your mind in terms of the week before the first HBCU game kicks off?
Yeah, let's take a look at it as ESPN's First Take unveils its largest ever HBCU campus tour for fall 2025. And we take a look at ESPN's flagship morning show, First Take, will make history this fall, announcing its most extensive schedule of live shows from HBCU campuses and events. The program will visit 4 prominent campuses, shining a national spotlight on the HBCU football culture and community. So the tour kicks off August 28th, as they will go to Norfolk State. Then on October 24th, First Take will roll into Birmingham, Alabama for the Magic City Classic. Then they will make an appearance as well at October 29th at Delaware State University. And then November 20th, they finish their tour as they go to Daytona Beach, where they'll visit Bethune-Cookman University.
Nice. Won't be able to do the Magic City. That's Prairie View's homecoming. But I will be in Norfolk this year. We'll actually see the Norfolk traveling over to Hampton. We'll do our second iteration of the traveling HBCU lecture series. We start things off, Charles and Wilton and Jackson, as we will be there for the W.C. Gordon Classic. We'll have our first HBCU lecture series that Friday. And then we'll have the last one. We go to I shouldn't say the last of the regular season. We'll go to Montgomery, and then we'll have one also in Atlanta for the last of the series, if you would, for the championship game in terms of the cricket Celebration Bowl. So excited about the opportunity to travel with the HBCU lecture series. Listen up, and you have more information to come of what that looks like, as we will have different variations where we'll have some talking to the presidents and chances others where we'll be talking to the students in terms of opportunities. Some will be working with athletic directors, and then others on the academic side. So we're big in terms of what this looks like. Obviously, we did that this spring in Texas Southern University. Now we have a grant that allows us to take it on the road. So we're excited about that opportunity. So I thought that matched up a little bit in terms of Norfolk State. So I wanted to make sure I brought that to your attention. With that being said, let me go to you, Wilton Jackson II. What's on your mind?
So I'm going to talk about the news that came out of Mississippi Valley today. Mississippi Valley State's football roster just got a little bit more historic. For the first time in HBCU program's history, a woman will suit up for the Delta Devils. Her name is Nina Sheeks. She's not here for a symbolic gesture. She's here to compete. From early morning workouts to full contact drills, Sheeks has earned her place into the locker room, becoming a trailblazer for Mississippi Valley State and the Southwestern Athletic Conference. The team teased her arrival back in April on the team's official Instagram account, where she posted a video where a video was posted of the 5'7" sophomore kicker from the Netherlands speaking with head coach Terrell Buckley and defensive pass game coordinator Mario Edwards Sr. Sheeks arrived at Mississippi Valley in 2024 as a women's soccer team defender, playing in 10 matches with 3 starts. She also competed on the women's tennis team this past spring. Though she won't return to the Devilet soccer roster in 2025, she'll now take her shot literally in football.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Multi-sport talented young lady there getting it done. Good stuff, good stuff. Go ahead, Delta Devils. David, what's on your mind?
I'm going to veer off. I'm going to do some independent news. Shout out to Tyne Ross. She won the preseason player of the year for NCAA volleyball. That was voted by the league heads coaches. She's the first underclassman to earn preseason player of the year honor since 2018. The outside hitter smashed the program record with 425 kills in her first collegiate season, topped the CAA leaderboard, 34th in the nation, and paced all freshmen with 4.34 kills per set in 2024. The sophomore outside hitter will look to lead the Aggies back to the postseason after guiding her squad to a berth in the CAA championship and an appearance in the NIVC tournament. A&T's been slated to place 4th in the preseason polls. It's going to be interesting to see how they do this year. Last year, they were slated to place last, and they ended up making the playoffs in CAA postseason. So shout out to her for this achievement. It's historic. So
good stuff. Good stuff. Update there. Another update I want to do is going to tie into the Grambling State uniform. Charles, you see these uniforms?
Yeah.
You brought me up on game in terms of the dialogue that went back and forth, whether it's Jackson State or Grambling State that first came out with the red. Ultimately, they end up being around the same time. So depending on what side of the camp you're on, you might have a different perspective. But I want to show this. I thought this was really intriguing. I like this because obviously it provides the accent of the red. So you play homage to that time period when Eddie Robinson first brought it out in terms of for the Grambling. But it does it in such a way that sets on the Tigers with the tiger stripe. So I thought it was extremely unique. So I want to shout out Dr. Travion Scott in terms of his part that he played in getting this done. But there's another shot. Let's show a couple of these pictures there. I thought that's pretty clean in terms of what they brought out in the uniforms. And as you know, in addition to that is the fact that Grambling State and Jackson State will be in Las Vegas here for a Classic. Well, I have a alumni of mine, actually happens to be a frat brother of mine, and we matched up. He's going to support the show in terms of allowing us to do a segment in partnership with him. And, you know, obviously I told you, Charles, last couple of times I was actually in Las Vegas. I make sure that I go over to his restaurant. Most of the time I get to catch up with him, but a couple of times he's traveling because him and his wife have the time to move around and celebrate their own family and obviously friends in terms of his experience when he's in the military, particularly as a Marine. Getting up there with his ranks. I'm not going to tell his business. But anyway, when I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, we love to dine in. My family and I, whoever I have down there, I get in the Chick-fil-A located at 9830 West Flamingo Road. The owner and operator, as I said, is Ron Peterson, graduate of Prairie View A&M University. He will be excited to have you as a guest. Let him know that Dr. Cavil sent you by. So especially when you all are out there in terms of checking out the game, or anytime you're out there, some of y'all like to get out there multiple times for fights and different things, particularly to either have fun in the pool, or some of y'all like to gamble a little bit. I'm not going to say what your poison is, and some of y'all just like to drink and have a good time, which I certainly understand. Make sure you support one of our own while you're out there, get it done. He also was supportive in doing some NIL, and we'll have some advertisement as we get a little closer talking about officially about that time and celebrating and how you can support him as he supported your team in terms of Grambling State and Jackson State. Those players that were there at the media day officially got an NIL deal. So we trying to work our magic to support that. He also obviously supported Prairie View A&M players that were there as well. With that being said, let's take our first break. We'll come back on the other side, get in a little bit of more news. get some other updates out there to see where your mind is. And then we're going to take the last 2 segments and we're going to concentrate on this game, really get to intellectual heads here talking about what they're looking forward to, what they're excited about, and what may concern them in terms of the matchup. Big one when you think about it in terms of, as we released last week, 3 and 4 matching up in this game. So pretty high rankings to start things off. So somebody's going to get a big win. But even if you lose this game, it's not going to be necessary what some would look at as a bad loss. So that's going to be fascinating when you think about that. As everybody has known by now, both these teams were 1 win away from making it to the Celebration Bowl. Now they get to start it in the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff. Can they find their way back to end it in the Celebration Bowl? Where it starts in Atlanta, many of them want to make sure it ends in Atlanta. As you all know, we'll be there. We'll see if our teams will get there. David, unfortunately, we can't get you an invitation, but that's all.
It's okay. We'll do HBCU basketball classes and other things that we do throughout the season. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get there. We've been there a few times. Well, we only got to play that challenge once. So even more into me yet. So more than Morgan State, at least. What's going on, Banks?
He said Celebration Bowl. We've been there a couple of times. We did okay. We'll be right back after this break.
HBCU football fans, the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff is celebrating 20 years this August. From Birmingham to Orlando to campus sites and now in Atlanta. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff has been a mainstay in HBCU athletics. 2 decades of providing a national platform on ESPN and now ABC for the finest HBCU programs in the country and some of the most talented players and coaches that have represented them. Forrest Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Javon Hargrave, Darius Leonard, Rod Broadway, Buddy Pugh, all have left their mark on this storied event. This year, we celebrate by welcoming North Carolina Central and Southern to Atlanta, which has cemented its place as the HBCU football capital. Every team who participates in this event looks to start and finish their season in the A by gaining a spot in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. That, however, is earned by becoming conference champions. And it starts right here in week 0. MEAC versus SWAC. The rivalry is real. Thank you for the last 20 years of support. The story never ends.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Charles, Wilton, and David. For Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, let's go back around on the other side. I'm gonna start back with you, David, as we ended off. What else is on your mind in terms of the week of HBCU sports?
Well, there's 50 football players that can win the Deacon Jones Trophy. On the Black College Football Hall of Fame has officially unveiled the 2025 watch list for the Black College Football Player of the Year Award. 50 most talented football players across historically Black colleges and universities were picked to be in the running for that honor. These players represent the pinnacle of HBCU football, each vying for the prestigious Deacon Jones Trophy, awarded annually to the nation's most outstanding HBCU football player. The list draws from 6 conferences, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, which has 18 players, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, which has 11, the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, which has 10, the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, which has 8, the Ohio Valley Conference, which has 2, and the Coastal Athletic Association, which has 1. So the fact that the reason why the award matters, the award honors the legacy of David Deacon Jones, a legendary defensive end who starred at South Carolina State and Mississippi Valley State before a Hall of Fame NFL career. The trophy celebrates leadership, skill, integrity, and on-field dominance. The Black College Football Player of the Year Award honors the talent, dedication, and the spirit of today's HBCU football players, said Doug Williams, Hall of Fame co-founder. These young men uphold a proud legacy and inspire future generations to dream bigger and to always aspire for greatness. The recipient will be announced during halftime at the 2026 All-State HBCU Legacy Bowl in New Orleans on February 21st, 2026. This high-profile event, broadcast live on NFL Network, is a premier platform showcasing top HBCU talent to a national audience. Fun fact about Deacon Jones, he invented the term sack,
Yes, he did.
quarterback sack.
Yep.
He said it was like terrorizing a city.
Yeah, boy, I used to love him just
The
talking.
great Deacon Jones. Yes,
Yes,
he did.
sir.
He would have you lathered up. You'd be like, man, this dude right here. Would not want to see him on the field. Quickly, who is your front runner, David? And I'm going to ask everybody around here, do you have any of the front runners, or are you with the transfer portal? Is it just too much for us to really see a front runner this early?
It is, but Kelvin Givens is fascinating to me, so I would love to see him get that.
Yeah.
Considering what position Deacon Jones played as well, love to see him get that. I'm sorry.
Go to you, Wilton, and then you, Charles. Do you agree with that name, or is there anybody off the board? If Brian was here, he would give us the over and under.
Of a Florida A&M player. Yeah.
Spoken in true favor of him.
Give a little love.
I think it's too early for me, but if I had to pick someone just off the list, I think I'm gonna lean towards Jacoby Morgan from Jackson State. Jackson State is definitely gonna start and end with where he leads this team this season. Obviously, there's no more Irv Mulligan, but there are a lot of other players that's gonna step up this year for Jackson State. But I think we're just looking at the list of players on there, which is a very incredible list of talent. I would like to think Jacoby Morgan has an edge in that department.
Wilton, how fun is it being in Jackson right now?
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's nothing like it's nothing like being in Jackson during football season. Like it's just different.
I'm planning on.
You tend to like to smile and show like you just smiling a little more than normal. So
that's that Celebration Bowl smile, Dr. Cavil. That's that Celebration Bowl smile.
When teams bring championships, you just smile a little bit bigger. TC said
it's just a little bit different.
Have a little bit more swagger to yourself.
I'm going to the Soul Bowl, so I'm looking forward to it.
The question at hand is Wilton is just laying that salt for the state just a little thick today, but
No, I think Wilton hits on something, and you take a look at somebody who's going to have the ball in his hands quite a bit, and Jacoby Morgan is going to be the straw that stirs the drink for the Jackson State offense, and it's been well documented. They got a lot of pieces on that offensive side of the ball, and he'll probably have the easiest job is to distribute the ball to all those toys that he has. So he should get an opportunity, to put up some numbers. So yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be a very interesting, I think, season for Jackson State football because heavy as a head that wears a crown. A lot of people will be shooting for him, but it's kind of interesting watching them from camp. As they have a swagger about themselves coming into this season.
While I asked you about camps, last week you got to talk to Dishman. Have you seen anything or heard anything else? What are your thoughts rounding as, in a couple of weeks we'll be right here in Houston in the backyard looking at this Labor Day Classic. What have you heard in terms of Prairie View and or Texas Southern specific?
I think the very interesting thing about both camps with regards to Texas Southern and Prairie View is they are so hush-hush. They are superbly quiet. They both don't want you to know what they can have. Prairie View doesn't. We're not talking about quarterback. It's hush out there off of 290, and then how quiet things can be over there on Cleburne. So no news is good news for both of them. So you have to almost wait until they walk out and kind of find out a little bit more from them. But just from looking at a few of Texas Southern's practices, you can see. I think the offensive line, is going to be something that I'm going to be paying attention to. They got some behemoths over there on the offensive line for Texas Southern, and I think the big thing coming from them is accountability and discipline. Those are the big buzzwords that you hear from Texas Southern football. But they take on the personality of their coach. Chris Ishman keeps everything close to the vest.
Any other news that you want to highlight before we go to Wilton and then a break?
Yeah, I wanted to put out there for a Black College Sports page. Luke Williams puts out this Black College Sports page, and he does a great job of cataloging a lot of the players in the preseason that have HBCU ties, and I want to point out a couple of them. Ian Wheeler, he had 19 carries for 80 yards for the Chicago Bears this past weekend. Former Howard running back, but did a tremendous job in terms of what he was able to do for Chicago Bears. And then Chris Blair, former Alcorn State Brave, had a big game for the Atlanta Falcons. He had 3 receptions, and he was targeted 5 times, but he had 3 receptions for 78 yards and a long touchdown. So I want to give a shout out to those former HBCU guys who had a great game this past weekend.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Wilton, what else you want to share with us?
You know what, Dr. Cavil, I'm just ready for the game, and I know we're going to talk about that on the next segment, but I mean, MEAC SWAC, I mean, you got 2 big, collective programs that's about to take the field. You know what you're going to get in North Carolina Central. You know Southern fans are going to travel. And it's, I know you tease me and Charles about how we talk about Southern, but, every once in a year, you love to see what Southern fans are going to come and all of that and what type of, not necessarily drama, but what they're going to bring to a game. So I'm excited to see it all, to be honest.
It must be nice to wear the crown.
This is so much shade.
Yeah, the shade is just on a different level. That's pretty good. I'm going to do one, David, I'm going to let you take us out and give us a little update in A&T. What are you hearing down there? I know you'll take a deep dive tomorrow for your indie show, but be remiss if we didn't share with everybody else here too and let you shine a little bit as well. HBCU AC awards 3-year bid to Tuscaloosa to host baseball and softball championship. Shout out to the HBCU and Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes as she continues to get it done as the commissioner over there. The Historically Black College and Universities AC, HBCU AC, otherwise known, has awarded Visit Tuscaloosa in the city of North Polk a 3-year bid to host the baseball and softball championships through 2028. Remember, a couple of years ago, you had many of the NIA programs that are members of the HBCU AC that opened up with new baseball programs or re-established their baseball programs. So it's been some fierce games over there, some talent. A couple of those teams in terms of Talladega have actually won the playoffs, won some games. So quite a few talent being played over there. So I'm interested to see how that looks. Shout out to the state of Alabama as Tuscaloosa specifically had the basketball tournament last year. I think there's a 3-4 year deal with that. And now they're bringing in baseball and softball. So Tuscaloosa is stepping up where it counts in terms of the HBCU NIA programs. Quoting here, the opportunity to bring 16 teams of our baseball and softball champions to North Polk for the next 3 years is a win for our student athletes, fans, and the entire conference, end quote, says Barnes. And that is Dr. Kiki Baker-Barnes, quote, River Run Park will provide a premier stage for competition, and Visit Tuscaloosa's commitment to creating an exceptional experience will make these championships memorable for the years to come. With that, I'm going to go to you, Dave, as we close this second segment. What are you hearing? Anything has you upbeat in terms of A&T?
Yeah, I'll be honest. So, after the last 2 seasons that we've been going through, I mean, I think for us, it's just about having competition, being competitive in these games, right? But what I've been hearing so far from the quarterback play, it looks like we're going to have a pretty good starter. We're going to have a starter in tow. We got a transfer out of Maryland, Champ Long, who's been looking pretty good so far. I think our wide receiver core is going to be one of our strong suits with regards to that. And we're still running back and I think we got a couple running backs that is going to be ready to rock. I think my biggest concern right now is defensively. I do like the fact that we've been playing a 3-4 with the previous regime, and we're going back to a 4-3, which is a beautiful thing to see with Courtney Court as defensive line coach and assistant head coach. So and Denzel Jones is the DC. So with that in mind, I think our defense is going to be improved, but I'm just concerned about up front just a tad. I think offensively, I think we're going to be fine. But just like people got to remember when Sean Gibbs was the coach of Fort Valley, he had to outscore everybody, and I think that's what we might see some type of formula with A&T this year as well. We might have to outscore everybody. I know that's hard to say considering how bad our offense was last year, but I think we got a good quarterback coach in McGee that we got from Howard, so I think we're going to be good to go with regards to that. He's also the offensive coordinator as well. So I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic after what I've seen the last 2 years. I'm trying.
I get it. Nowhere but up to go. So let's take our next break and come back on the other side. He said, no kidding.
You ain't kidding, man.
Get ready for the inaugural Unity Classic, Saturday, September 13th at Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium. It's a clash of the Virginia Union Panthers of the CIAA and the Edward Waters Tigers of the SIAC. Plus, an HBCU band battle between the Edward Waters Triple Threat Marching Band and the Virginia Union Ambassadors of Sound. The inaugural Unity Classic goes down in Duval.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
History? Yeah, we built that. Pride? We fuel that. And on August 30th, we run that. Two powerhouse HBCUs, Howard Bison, FAMU Rattlers, one legendary showdown under the Miami lights at Hard Rock Stadium. The energy unmatched. The culture undeniable. The vibes straight HBCU. 2025 Invesco QQQ Orange Blossom Classic. Get your tickets and book your hotel now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Saturday, August 30th at 4 p.m. in Miami Gardens.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEAC SWAC Challenge.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have the professors in the building. With that being said, let's get into this Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff matchup. I know it's the talk of the town in terms of the HBCU world, which it should be. People are fascinated with so many different reasons in this matchup. Many of them you've heard before. But we're going to see if we can take a little different stint and see how we can get in even more detail to talk about some key players that both teams and fans need to look at this weekend. Obviously, when you talk about this matchup, we unveiled our top 7 major division programs a week ago, last Tuesday, which came out with number 3, North Carolina Central Eagles. They come in this matchup as they were 8-3, 4-1 last year, representing the MEAC. Last time they played in this game, they had a tough game in terms of what it looks like. But on the other side, we have Southern, which came in ranked number 4. The Southern Jaguars were 8-5 last year, 7-1 in terms of the conference race. One of the things people like to note is they played in this game a couple of times in different cities, but one thing they've been able to do, regardless, is come out with the win. So they want to keep that win streak. Certainly the MEAC wants to get it done. The SWAC has won the last 3 contests. I think it's 4 of the last 5 in terms of that matchup. You got to go back to when these games were on campus, where Bethune-Cookman was hosting Alcorn. Alcorn had a lead in that game about halfway through halftime, where you had the Lightning and they had to cancel the game. But outside of that, while the MEAC had all the early games, it's shifted a bit to the SWAC as things have gotten more interesting. It'll be fascinating to kind of see what that looks like. Obviously, we get to the end of the year, you see a little bit of that as well. But this is a referendum in a lot of ways, not only for these teams, but for the conferences in terms of how many and how much more folks are taking this serious in terms of the teams getting an opportunity, but also the conference. And then the fact you had the game highlight as it shifted to ABC, as well as it being a night game, 7:30 p.m. It's at Center Park Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of folks have a lot of good reasons to come to Atlanta. Some of them not better than being able to play in a football game. So we kind of set the stage in various ways in terms of how you want to look at this game. But Wilton, we hadn't had the chance to have your voice on here a little bit, so I'm going to go to you first this second. If you would, in terms of a couple of key players, what are you looking at and why are those key matchups for you in terms of this big-time game?
So when I look at North Carolina Central and Southern, I mean, for me, when it comes to North Carolina Central, I feel like defensively, I think, last year they kind of struggled to stop certain offenses in the MEAC last year. But I think more than anything, the biggest key for me is what they're going to do at quarterback. Will Walker Harris, take that step that we need him to really, really take and really put this program actually, at the top per se in the MEAC. That's not to say they aren't at the top, but we know they didn't obviously win the MEAC last year. But this is the year that he has to kind of show us, like, this is my team. I'm no longer in the shadows, because it kind of felt like at times last year that he was still somewhat in the shadows a bit. And so now it's time for him to kind of take control and take ownership of that to lead this team.
Do you believe in terms of what that looks like, do you think Southern offensively will kind of Central, I should say, will kind of game plan, knowing that he's out there, and what will that look like from your perspective maybe early on?
How Southern will defend North Carolina Central?
Yes.
Yes, I think it'll affect that. I think that, obviously when you have a defender like a Kelby Givens, who's going to obviously put immense pressure up front on North Carolina Central's quarterback, I think that Walker Harris, he better be ready to play his A game as soon as he steps on the field. I think
you think they'll put one person and try to see if they can get away with it early? Do you think they'll come in that matchup where they'll try to put two people to defend him and maybe somebody else makes the plays?
If I'm Southern, I would probably start with two, just because you just never know. Players change and evolve through each season. And if I'm Southern, I don't want anything to kind of jump out and surprise me in this game. Because sometimes, how many times have we seen in certain games where teams might come out with a play the opposing team is not expecting? And if I'm Southern, I don't want to take any chances with that.
Charles, let me go to you. What particular sides of the ball are you featured in this game, and why?
It might sound cliche, but I think it is the trenches. When you take a look at North Carolina Central, they are a veteran offensive line, and they're going up against a defensive line that this year, although they have quite a bit of talent, they're younger. I mean, last year we remember Kelby Givens with guys like Willie Miles, who was a big fire hydrant right in the middle of that Southern defensive line. He also had Jelani Davis, Jackson State transfer. Jelani Davis now at Kent State. But they had a good veteran group of defensive line last year. So that's going to be a very interesting look-see for me in terms of, can Southern get some pressure on a veteran presence like Walker Harris? And I think that was one of the questions that I asked, and that's one of those things that Southern's coach, he talked about. We're going to have to give him some different looks. He is a veteran presence back there. So you have to expect, there's a calmness to Walker Harris. And like you said, Wilson, does he step up more this season? He has to have, I think, a big game for North Carolina Central to get the victory in this one.
Both teams, sticking with you, Charles, and I go to you, David, to give me a couple of thoughts on this. Obviously, you would think Central has the ability to maybe pass the ball a little more. But do you see on the other side Southern sticking early to trying to run the ball? I know both teams will try to run, but I would think Central may have the ability to put it up a little more. Or do you see Southern maybe changing it up, even though they would like to run, that they may try to go to the air a little bit more unless obviously the run is just working that well for them?
Great question, Doc. In terms of looking at Southern's offense, and I know they have a glut of running backs, and to me, looking at Southern over the past few years, that has been the missing element. That they have not had a bellwether running back that they could turn and give the ball to, and he can get you 3-4 yards. They got a 6'2", 220-pound running back, LSU transfer, Trey Holly, that's back there now. But they also got Barry Remo, who I think is a really good running back. So it'll be very interesting to see how Southern's offense look. And I think a sort of an X factor. If Jalen Woods doesn't come out on fire, how quickly do we see a quarterback like Cameron McCoy, who really held things in place until Jacoby Morgan got up and going last year for Jackson State? That's a very interesting transfer. And you talk about Cameron McCoy, might not be the most accurate of quarterbacks, but he has a lot of speed. He can put a lot of pressure on defense.
Good stuff. Go to you, David, as these guys really get to talk about Southern because they saw the matchup twice last year against Jackson State where they got in there. You had the unique opportunity to see Central in terms of the A&T. Obviously, that game got out of hand pretty quickly. But beyond that, in terms of what you saw in that matchup and those players that you see coming back, what are you looking at in terms of them being able to play all facets of the game? Can they do that against Southern, or is it something particular that you're looking at in terms of a couple of key players, maybe more from a defensive perspective from Central?
Well, I think for me, Max Urian on the defense is probably their best player they have defensively. But when you go back to the offense, I think we're not talking about the running game that Central has. I know they lost Jamari Taylor to the portal. Ended up going to a P4 school, but that doesn't mean they don't have a staple of backs over there. And Chris Mosley is probably going to be the anchor of that staple. So from that regard, I think that would be a good way to keep Givens honest from that standpoint. Hold him back a little bit and then let Walker do his thing because he's got a lot of toys there too over at that school down the road, unfortunately. But defensively, Max Urian is probably the best player they have, and they're pretty stout up front as well. There as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this goes. I'm hoping for a close game. I'm praying for a close game, but I don't see it right now based on what I've been seeing. So,
okay.
It's gonna be interesting.
We're gonna leave that as a good tease in the last segment. We're gonna go ask these guys to go out on a limb and pick. So David did a good job teasing. If you may have seen him somewhere else, you may have known which direction he's going. If not, when we come back on the other side, we'll talk about some of the intangible things, if you would, that you see in this matchup that you need to watch out. And then we'll get a chance for these guys to pick out in terms of the gut. It's so early in terms of these matchups. I think you just kind of throwing it at the wall, particularly of this game, because so many ways it's a close matchup in terms of talented coaches, talented programs, rich programs in their own ways about what does that look like. But our job is to put it out there, so we will do that. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this last break. We'll come back on the other side and get right back into it.
Football fans, HBCU football is back in the ATL with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff. Representing the MEAC, North Carolina Central, and representing the SWAC, Southern, Eagles, Jaguars, the Marching Sound Machine, the Human Jukebox. The kickoff trophy is up for grabs, and bragging rights are on the line. The rivalry is real. Bring the family and join us pre-game for the fun-filled Coca-Cola fan experience, including band jamborees, food, activations, and fellowship. For tickets and information, visit MEACSWACChallenge.com.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Get ready for the inaugural Unity Classic, Saturday, September 13th at Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium. It's a clash of the Virginia Union Panthers of the CIAA and the Edward Waters Tigers of the SIAC. Plus, an HBCU band battle between the Edward Waters Triple Threat Marching Band and the Virginia Union Ambassadors of Sound. The inaugural Unity Classic goes down in Duval.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
History? Yeah, we built that. Pride? We fuel that. And on August 30th, we run that. Two powerhouse HBCUs, Howard Bison, FAMU Rattlers, one legendary showdown under the Miami lights at Hard Rock Stadium. The energy unmatched. The culture undeniable. The vibes straight HBCU. 2025 Invesco QQQ Orange Blossom Classic. Get your tickets and book your hotel now at orangeblossomclassic.com. Saturday,
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Welcome back. You are with Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson II, and David L. Rhodes. With that being said, I want to shout out Brandon King as he's working on an article. All this talk about Tennessee Tech last week leaving the OVC and what that means for Tennessee State. He has something up his sleeve, some information that he has out there, and I guess I'll kind of leave it at that in terms of something that he's putting out. Might come out as early as tomorrow. With that being said, David, y'all might have something to talk about on the show.
I like topics. We got plenty of them, but I love topics. And I love when they just show up the day of. It's the beautiful type of topic that I prefer.
Oh boy, something about teams leaving the OVC should be interesting.
Yeah, I think. Look, it's not just gonna be one. I'll leave it at that. I've been hearing some things too.
Okay. See. I just saying
things too.
Back to it. Cricket MEAC Challenge kickoff as we return to our focus point here. Central has ended the season winning 4 of the last 5 games. Those were all essentially conference games, if you would. The last 4 of them were at Central. You have a win against Virginia Lynchburg, 68-0. And then they had Morgan State as they hosted them. They won 16-7, defensive slugfest, if you would. And then they lost on the road. That was South Carolina State, 24-21, propelled South Carolina State undefeated in conference play, and they end up going to the Celebration Bowl with North Carolina Central looking on the outside in because of one loss again. And then they were able to defeat Howard 26-23, and then they really put it on Delaware State 52-10 with an offensive explosion. So if you've seen them, they're able to kind of win games in multiple facets where they're able to put up some points and also win it from a defensive perspective. So kind of fascinating there. When you turn the tape, you got Southern. They won 4 of their last 5. Obviously, they playing in the championship game. They did not go to Celebration Bowl, which means they lost that last game. But they had won 4 straight. That started with on the road win at Alabama A&M, 25-20. They hosted Bethune-Cookman and surprised a lot of folks. They had to go to 5 overtimes, but they did get the win, and that's what counts, 25-23. They also hosted UAPB, where they beat up on them pretty good, 31-9. And then they had Grambling in the Bayou Classic, neutral site in New Orleans, for all those fans that have fun down there or watch it on the broadcast network of NBC. They won that game 24-14, took out the rival, got it done, got a chance to play another rival out of state, if you would. That's Jackson State. Second time they played in this season. They lost this one pretty big, 41-13 in that matchup. I bring all that to say to look at some of the intangibles. With that being said, I'm going to start with you, Wilton, in terms of your intangibles. What are your intangibles in terms of this matchup?
I'll start with Central first. They literally, Walker Harris has to be able to throw the ball and move the ball. And the only reason I didn't mention the running backs that, like David, he listed all the running backs because it's pretty much understood that North Carolina Central can run the ball. This game is going to come down to whether or not Walker Harris can make the adequate passes he needs to make down the field for them to win this game. I think if you're Southern, you have to make sure Walker Harris is not comfortable at any point in time. Like literally, because I think that while both teams will be able to run the ball, I still think, ironically, because Central had their struggles a little bit. Walker Harris had his struggles last year a little bit. Southern has definitely had some inconsistencies at quarterback last year. It's going to come down to which defense is going to stand tall when it needs to, and which team is going to be able to run the ball just enough to be able to essentially get that win. But if you're Southern, you have to absolutely make sure that you're limiting Central's running game, and then also basically putting Walker Harris in hell to make him uncomfortable throughout that entire game. And I will say this, I do think that this will be a close game, though. Yeah. I don't think it will be a blowout at all.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. David and I love to see that. Charles, where are you going in terms of the intangibles?
The intangibles to me is who demonstrates that they are the more physical football team. I think the trend over the past couple of seasons is, imitation being the best form of flattery. Well, Jackson State looked sort of like a MEAC team over the past couple of seasons. They punch you in the mouth. So the question for me is that just a Jackson State thing, or is that what we're seeing from the SWAC now? So it's Southern's opportunity to show that they have a physical football team. Can they run the football? And I think that's going to be the big thing that I'm looking for. The intangible for me is, can they demonstrate the physicality that we've seen from the SWAC over the past couple of seasons with regards to Jackson State and Florida A&M being able to get those 3-4 yards when they had to go get it and show that they were the more dominant offensive line?
I like that. Good, great points. Great points. David?
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Like, typically when you have a game like this and you have a certain level of expectation, I think the big thing from an intangible standpoint you got to think about is special teams, because that could swing anything. That could create blowouts, or that can create games that should be closer than they should be. So I'm kind of fascinated to see how special teams is going to be working on both ends of the spectrum, particularly with the school down the road, because they tend to have a pretty good special teams unit. And I want to see if something can keep that energy as well.
Coaches, from your perspective, do you give an edge to one coach or the other? Yeah. Obviously, they've been around each other. They certainly have grown, established. One is what you would see maybe as a younger coach. The other one has really cut his teeth and finally got a shot. But which direction, if you had to lean one way or the other in terms of coaching perspective, Dave?
For me, I think it's Trey. I mean, I don't like those guys in Durham, but it's Trey. Like, it's Trey. I mean, he was on the staff in A&T during the Celebration Bowl one as well. So, like, he's had the championship pedigree for a while. It's Trey. I don't like him down there, but it's Trey.
I was going to ask you why, but you quickly put that out there. So I'm going to go to you, Wilton, in terms of coaching. Which way are you leaning? You give an edge to in terms of coaching, and it could be the head coach, or you can even go to offensive, defensive coordinator.
I'll stick with the head coach. I'm gonna side with David. I'm definitely going with Coach Oliver. Just, not only the pedigree, but he just always finds a way to get his players locked in to play when it matters the most. But I will say, I have to say this though. After watching Southern last season win games when you thought that they were not going to win games at the very last minute, you cannot count out Terrence Graves. So that's just my segue in that, just a little bit.
And you gave him some love. I appreciate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that The Southern
Yeah,
folks
but I think
appreciate
you
that,
get it
Mr.
in the
Jackson.
way. You're right. When you talk about grades and then what he was able to do in terms of the Bayou Classic,
Right.
you
Yeah.
witnessed that he was able to do it as an interim and win both ways and then come back as a head coach and win it again. I mean, if this was the Bayou Classic, you probably would shift your thoughts.
Yeah.
But it is open things up. So I'm going to go to you, Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little bit. Where are you leaning in terms of head coaches?
Yeah, I think both coaches are master motivators. But like you said, Doc, that was very interesting. If it was a Bayou Classic, I'm definitely leaning all over Terrence Graves on that. But I'll give the edge to Trey Oliver. I mean, he's won a Celebration Bowl. I mean, and he does. You talk about the coach who plays up. Every little slight. That he's going. Sweat gets all the love, and none of that. All right, coach. I get you. So you got it. I'll give Trey Oliver. By that much.
Yeah, he gonna find a way to make you be like, hey man, wear my shirt. Where your shirt at, Dr. V? I know you over there. I'm just covering the game, brother. I got him on Monday though.
Did I heard it. I was like,
Coach, I've been looking in my mailbox every day. I went to the MEAC football media day. I get excited. I go to the mailbox, and every day I've been disappointed. He said, "Man, I'm gonna put." I say, "We'll see." I say, "All right, you put it in there. We'll see what that looks like." As we're up against it, we're gonna stop right before 8 to make sure we can get David out of here. He has some other items that he has to get to. But the final kind of piece I wanted to ask in terms of what that looks like, and we might do this as tease and continue on Thursday. We get a chance is classics. With the SWAC playing in so many classics, and obviously Central has the big game. South Carolina State, they play the A&T game, even though it's home, big games. Is there any intangible in the fact that Southern plays in these types of games in the SWAC versus the MEAC, particularly when you have Coach Oliver talking about that from that perspective? They're serious in the bands and all that. He couldn't even answer his band yet. And they got larger members now. That band effect. If Southern gets
it ain't
wrong,
gonna help them, but yeah, they're bigger now.
I used to not believe that, but that synergy, when that synergy gets going, Southern is a different animal. That is something serious, and I've talked about it from time to time that when the band gets going and it gets the fans going and you see the synergy, how it translates to the field.
Now it matters.
All right. Yeah, I know you think the same, Wilton, in terms of it matters. You've seen it.
It matters
in different ways. And David, you were the last part I wanted to hear that. So if you say it matters, it matters. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Today, we had none other than Wilton Jackson II and David L. Rose. Appreciate them sharing love. You'll see Wilton regularly. He has put us back on the clock, so when his schedule allows it, we'll make sure that he is right here to show up and show out. And every once in a while, we got to pull David out of that indie position and love from this side too. So we'll call him in the reserves, and obviously we're not going to let AD Drew get away. And sometime we will find Mike. We have found out he will be in Atlanta. He gets down for the big events. We'll see if we can get him on the show regularly. He will be in Atlanta. That what else is new? He big times us. He'll be at the big event. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And be ready this fall. Again, we'll do it again. We'll do Sundays at 9 a.m. And we will continue to unveil the major division top 7 every Sunday morning. So you'll get it here first based on what takes place on Saturdays. In 2 weeks, you'll get all that with the Sunday report. We look forward to Thursday as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. One on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Wilton?
Lecture.
David?
Dismissed.
He didn't forget. Wilton is on it. See y'all like anytime. Pass the test 100. Good job. See y'all.